Well, hey everybody, I hope you're having a great fall weekend and enjoying the fall weather like I am. As you can tell, I've already started putting my fall winter face on, so this is about 5 or 6 days, so tomorrow make it a week, so it hasn't filled in yet. So I'm getting ready for the fall. So it's the beginning of the month, and that means it's time for me to do another book review. And if you know anything about my progression of book reviews, I have a particular pattern where I do a nonfiction, fiction. So this month is time for another fictional book review. And this particular book is actually a sequel to another one of my favorite Christian fictional books, mainly because it's a historical fiction book. And let's see if I think I'm turn the light off so you can see the cover. Here it is, Empire's End. This is actually the sequel to Jerry Jenkins' first book, I Saw, which follows the Apostle Paul in his early days when he was actually imprisoned in a Roman prison. And this book is actually the continuation. If you remember, the first book was about finding some lost scrolls or letters that the Apostle Paul had written while he was in prison. Where this book is actually more about what those letters entailed, what Paul was writing to the early church or the followers of the way, as it was referred to during the time at Rome. So this book gives more light on the Apostle Paul's early life. There are some hints in here taken from scripture, as Jerry always does, about possible romantic pursuits of the Apostle Paul. But a lot of it really follows the transformation of Apostle Paul, which, like you and me and the rest of us, when we come to faith, we don't automatically, boom, become mature believers. So neither did the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul was a brilliant, head of his class Pharisee or a Jewish pupil, where he became a Pharisee. So when God humbled him and blinded him on the Damascus road, God had to retrain him and remind him of the ways of God. And through his letters to Timothy and some of the other, even Luke, that were written, Jerry Jenkins takes tidbits of those historical letters and creates a fictional world built off of those historical real events in the life of the Apostle Paul. So this continues that, and there's even some backstory in it where as Rome's grip on the world is beginning to crumble. So hence the title is Empire's End. But the thing is, Empire's End isn't just about Rome. It's also about the empire or the world that Saul was part of himself. So the Roman Empire was crumbling and Saul's world is crumbling. And he's imprisoned in a Roman cell as the world is falling apart around him, and his God is slowly chipping away at his heart of stone and continue to mature him. So we hear these changes in Paul as he's writing these letters trying to encourage the early church. And then we're learning more about his adventures as he escapes prison, escapes being tortured by Rome, as he ventures out on his missionary journeys in the wilderness and in the desert. Continue to share what God has done with him, how God is changing him, how God is crushing his world, so to speak, but yet giving him new life. So if you're a fan of the Apostle Paul, like most of us, you're going to really like this sequel. If you haven't read the first one, I Saw, go back and get it first, because it's going to set this up. It's going to show you where these letters came from, where this insight comes from. You know, this one is really more focused on the Apostle Paul in his early days and even in his Jewish teachings, which, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of studying Jewish scripture to better understand Christianity. So this looks at that, but from a fictional standpoint. It's looking at how Paul became Paul and how God transformed him to teach and help build the first century church, especially as he goes on his missionary journey. So I highly recommend this book. So hit the like button, leave a comment in the description. Let me know if you went back and read the first one, what you thought about it. Let me know if you're reading something else now. Let me know what you're reading right now. Let me know what God is showing you through what you're reading, whether it's Christian fiction or Christian nonfiction. God can speak to us all through writing. I mean, that's why we have the Bible. And he continues to speak to us through other gifted writers like B Jenkins. Have a happy fall, y'all, and happy reading. Let me know what you're reading, and if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Bye-bye.